Welcome to the Bike Talk with Dave podcast. I'm your host, Dave Mabel. Thanks for tuning in. We've got a real treat again this week. This dude is currently at... Okay, I gotta call a timeout here. So, a friend of mine turned me on to this auto-generate thing, Google Notebook LM. I have no idea what the LM is, but whatever. It's irrelevant. It's probably not to Google, but it's irrelevant to this conversation. Anyway, this Google program takes info that you drop into it, and then it goes out and it gets more info about that subject, and then it kind of creates notes for you on whatever subject you drop into it. And you can hit a little button that takes all the info and it makes it into an audio file. But it doesn't just read it. We've all heard that stuff. Freaking go through Instagram and have your sound on and you'll hear auto, like computer reading stuff that people wrote. This doesn't just read it, but it actually creates a podcast-like conversation. So I played around with it a bit and I took my audio introduction of this week's guest. I hit the little audio button and, well, I was intrigued. So, this is what it spit out. It's a great introduction to my special guest this week, Christopher Blevins. I'm gonna play it as our introduction, and then we'll see you right on the other side. Thanks for playing along.
All right. Welcome in, everyone. We're diving into some really cool stuff today.
Yeah, definitely some interesting stuff.
We're going to be talking about, well, I guess the best way to describe it is like the intersection of elite athletics and environmentalism.
Yeah, that's it.
And kind of using your platform for good, I guess you could say.
Right, exactly.
And the guy we're going to be talking about is Christopher Blevins.
Oh, yeah, Blevins.
If you're into cycling, you know who this guy is.
Yeah.
But if not, he's kind of a big deal.
Huge in the mountain biking world.
He's got multiple Olympic appearances.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. And he was the first ever cross-country short-track world champion.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's kind of the shorter, more intense version of cross-country racing, like the
criterium of mountain biking?
Kind of, yeah. It's like super explosive, super exciting.
I can imagine.
And he's also got a whole bunch of World Cup wins. I mean, he's
crushing it.
Yeah, he's killing it right now. And actually, in this year's U.S. Pro Cup Series, he's undefeated so far.
Wow, that's incredible. Like a perfect streak.
A perfect streak. It's pretty wild.
So where can we see some of this dominance in action?
Well, if you want to see this guy just completely crushing it, you should check out the recent World Cup races in Brazil. That was the start of the season.
Right, the season opener.
Yeah, and in the short track race, he just blew everyone away. He won that one.
Nice.
And then in the main cross-country Olympic, the XCO race, he got second place.
Still a strong showing.
Super strong. But it's not even just him individually. It's his whole team, Specialized Factory Racing. They're unreal.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So in that XCO race, Blevins finished second, but his teammate, Victor Koretsky.
Oh, I know Koretsky.
He's amazing. Yeah, so they finished 1, 2.
Whoa, that's awesome.
It was incredible. And then to top it off, their other teammate, Martin Kosman, finished third.
No way. They swept the podium.
They swept the podium. Can you believe it?
That's amazing. Talk about team effort.
Right. What a team.
And let's not forget, Koretsky also snagged second in that crazy short track race.
Yeah, he was right there with Blevins.
They're such a powerhouse team. What do you think contributes to that kind of dominance at that level?
Well, I mean, obviously you have to have insane amounts of talent. Like, these guys are just naturally gifted.
Right.
But then on top of that, they train so hard. Like, their training programs are just brutal.
I can only imagine.
And then, you got to have the whole team dynamic working. Like,
the strategy.
Yeah, the strategy, the support staff, the mechanics, everything's got to be perfect.
Yeah, it all comes together.
Yeah, so they can just focus on riding their bikes as fast as they can.
And speaking of focus, there's something really interesting about Blevins. Like, he's obviously dedicated to crushing it in his sport, but he's also really involved in environmental advocacy.
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting.
Well, you don't always see that.
Yeah.
Right?
Right, and this is where it might seem a little surprising at first, because he's a mountain biker. a summer sport athlete. But he's really involved with this organization called Protect Our Winters, POW.
POW, yeah, I've heard of them. They're like a snow sports advocacy group, right?
Well, they started out that way, like
Yeah.
really focused on protecting the winter sports landscape. But their mission has like broadened a lot.
In what way?
Well, they're really all about protecting clean air and clean water, which are obviously essential for any outdoor activity.
That's true. I mean, it's not just about skiing or snowboarding.
Right, exactly. And that's what's so cool about it. It's like these athletes who are at the top of their game, they're realizing that they need a healthy environment to do what they love.
It's like they're pushing beyond just their own achievements.
Totally. And POW has this great way of putting it. They call it the outdoor state.
The outdoor state? I like that.
Yeah, it's like, think about it. If you love mountain biking like Blevins, or if you like canoeing or surfing or just going for a run.
Or hiking or climbing.
Yeah, anything. Even snowmobiling. All of that depends on a healthy environment.
It's true. We all need clean air and clean water.
And POW is like a national advocate for those things. They're saying, hey, this isn't just a concern for skiers or snowboarders.
It's for everyone who enjoys being outside.
Exactly. So it totally makes sense that a mountain biker like Blevins would be involved because he has a stake in protecting these resources, not just for his sport, but for everyone who loves the outdoors.
It's like he's seeing the bigger picture.
Totally. You get that his ability to compete at the highest level and even just enjoy riding his bike, it all comes back to having a healthy environment.
And it's pretty powerful to see someone with his platform speaking out about these issues.
Definitely. It makes you wonder what drives someone like that to be so passionate about the environment.
I think it's because athletes, especially those who spend so much time in nature, they really understand how important it is.
Yeah, they see it firsthand.
They experience it every day, so they're more likely to want to protect it. So yeah, Blevins is definitely putting his beliefs into action, both on the bike and off.
He's a world-class athlete, and he's a passionate advocate for the environment. It's a pretty awesome combination.
It really is, and it's so cool to see him using his platform to make a difference.
But wait, there's more.
Oh.
Yeah, so not only is he this amazing athlete and advocate, he's also a musician.
No way, really?
Yeah, he released an album back in 2018 called Mile Markers.
That's wild. I never would have guessed.
It's really cool, and we actually have a little snippet of one of his songs, Battlefield,
Let's hear it.
play his music sample.
That's actually really good.
Right. It's awesome to see that creative side of him, too.
It's like he's a multi-talented individual, not just an athlete.
Exactly, and if you want to learn more about him, he also has this YouTube series called Chapters.
Chapters, what's that about?
It's basically a behind-the-scenes look at his life as a professional athlete.
That's interesting.
It is, and the best part is that the first episode of his 2025 season just came out. It's called Reflections.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, you should. It's really cool.
So if people are inspired by Blevins' work with POW, how can they get involved?
Well, their website is super easy to remember. It's just protectorwinters.org.
Perfect.
And if you go to the resources tab, they have this Climate Advocates Guidebook. It's really helpful.
Like a how-to guide for environmental action.
Exactly. It gives you all sorts of tips and information.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And they also have this thing called Team POW you can join for free.
Free.
Yeah. And it's basically a way to add your voice to their movement. They call it the outdoor state.
So it's like a collective of people who care about the environment.
Yeah. And they advocate for policies and stuff to protect clean air and clean water.
That's awesome. I'm signing up.
Yeah, you should. And if you're feeling extra generous, they also accept donations.
Of course, they're a nonprofit, right?
Right. And all donations are tax deductible.
Even
So yeah, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Christopher Blevins, it's clear that he's not just an incredible athlete. He's also a thoughtful and engaged individual who's using his platform to make a difference.
he's a real inspiration.
He really is. And his commitment to POW shows that he cares about something bigger than just himself.
Yeah, he's thinking about the future, about the planet.
And it makes you think, if we all took a page from his book, what kind of impact could we have?
I mean, if more people got involved in protecting the environment, imagine the possibilities.
It's pretty exciting to think about.
It is. It's like we all have the power to make a difference, just like Blevins.
So let's get out there and do it.
Absolutely. Let's protect our planet.
For ourselves and for future generations.
We were the outdoor state.
That's it for today's Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.
Christopher Blevins, what a treat to have you on. I'm super stoked to have you joined by Talk with Dave. Talk about a bit about you and your racing, which you've done a lot, and protect our winners and your involvement there. Or POW for short. We'll be calling it POW, I'm sure, quite a bit for this conversation. But dude, I don't want to skip. I mean, I am going to skip right to the. I mean, it's not the ending because it was a few years ago, but freaking world champ in the short track mountain bike world championships. Like, how fun was it to put on that rainbow jersey?
Yeah, it's a cool moment for sure. It's kind of it's what everyone, just a rainbow band on your sleeve is what everyone seeks in the sport of cycling. So it was an honor to do it, and it was the first short track world championships, which was a cool element too. Just for the history books. But yeah, hope to get another one. I'm still pretty young in my career, so I hope to keep trying. I sure will be.
You are young in your career. You're young. What, 27, 28?
I turn 27 tomorrow, actually. So yeah.
Oh, happy birthday tomorrow!
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's awesome. Yeah, dude, you're like just getting started, just warming up.
Yeah. We'll see.
I love it. Well, man, oh man, I kind of downloaded your race history, your highlights or whatever, your highlight reel. You've done everything, man, from BMX to road, like high level BMX, high level road, high level, obviously, mountain biking, cyclocross, and even a little gravel thrown in. You're kind of a jack of all trades and master of all of them. I want to start out, and I'm a little curious. You grew up in Durango, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And you started out in BMX in Durango, Colorado?
Yeah. Durango BMX is still a great track. I think it's better than when I was a 5-year-old there, but it was always super homegrown. And yeah, Durango's not really known for BMX. It's obviously known for mountain bike. It's not like, I don't know, Phoenix, Arizona, or places in SoCal where there's tons of BMX culture and tracks. It's kind of like motocross in that way. But yeah, the BMX track in Durango is kind of like my home as a kid. So was a great baseline for where I went in my cycling career from there.
Yeah, for sure. Your dad, I know, was pretty influential in getting you involved and hauling you around the country. Did he race?
Oh yeah, he still races. He just did like 9 weekends in a row of cyclocross this winter. So
oh wow,
he's
racing cross.
Yeah, he's as fired up as ever. So yeah,
that's awesome. Did he race BMX?
No, he didn't. BMX is just such a kid-friendly sport. I mean, you literally have moms loading kids in the gate. And, my dad would catch me at the end because he put me in clips right away and I didn't know how to unclip on my own. So it was a cool, way to spend time with my dad growing up.
Yeah. And you were 5?
I was 5 when I started. Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine a 5-year-old being able to have the strength to unclip.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just, pedal.
That's awesome. And then how'd you land on a mountain bike? Like, what was the transition to a mountain bike?
Yeah, incredibly natural. I mean, just the thing you do in Durango. That's just what kids do. So, Durango Devo. A lot has been said about that program and how it's produced a lot of racers. Tour de France stage winners with Sepp Kuss and
such as
right. But it's also produced just a lot of. The mission of it is lifelong cyclists, people who love their bike and taking it, really with them in so many different capacities and facets. So, Devo was really just a gem of a program, and still is. So I was really naturally fell in love with mountain biking through that.
And then I'm curious, like, what got you on the road going from fat tires to skinny tires? And Axel Merckx, was that kind of cool?
Yeah. So, I mean, my first road race was 12 and under national championships in Bend, Oregon. And, my dad was just like, yeah, try this now. And, obviously.
I like your dad.
Yeah. And growing up, watching the Tour de France and road culture isn't as strong as in Durango, even though you have Quinn Simmons and Sepp who were from there. But Yeah, and then I was able to just blend everything really well. Went to Europe. There were more opportunities to go to Europe as a 15, 16-year-old on the road than on the mountain bike. But I did both all the way through my junior racing years through high school, and then had an opportunity to join Axel Merckx's team Action for the first 2 years of my professional U23 career with the mountain bike, and eventually focused on mountain biking primarily to finish school, and then to go to the Olympics in Tokyo to try to make a push for that.
So Axel Merckx he's got a famous last name and a pretty famous dad. Was there any intimidation factor and like, holy crap, this is the kid of Eddie Merckx, the cannibal Eddie Merckx, or is it just like this is the dude who runs the team?
Axel's super cool. I mean, he's been around cycling his entire life, like, you know, the pinnacle of cycling. Doesn't
Right.
get more embedded than Eddie Merckx's son. But yeah, he's you know, he's really good at working with young riders, and yeah, just easy going about it all. So they were really supportive of me racing mountain bike as well, and kind of having a blended schedule. And it was a great couple years just getting to experience, you know, pro Conti level road racing.
Is there anything you learned from him that you still think of or implement today?
Um, I think culture building, you know, Action those years did a really strong just culture of how the team showed up, and yeah, kind of the principles people stuck to, and yeah, so I'd say that, and then there's a lot of nuances from road racing that, you know, I still apply to mountain bike, and just going across disciplines, but yeah.
I do feel they do complement each other. Road riding, like it's hard to push yourself harder than hanging on a group, and I know it's a strong group in Durango, and like your eyeballs are bleeding and your ears are bleeding and your tongue is hanging out and you're still like just killing yourself to hang in there and not get dropped. It's not about a watch, it's not about a heart rate, it's not about a watt meter, it's about just hanging onto the freaking wheels. So I think road racing is great for that. And then of course the mountain biking, I always I tell people like do cyclocross, do mountain biking, even if you want to race and be good on the road, because when you go around a corner and your rear wheel slips out a little bit in the sand, or you hit some mud or a little patch, or somebody hits your wheel, like you're going to know how to react because of what you've done on the mountain bike or the cross bike. And even if you don't want to get good at cross, like it helps your road riding. So, and here, I mean, I'm looking at your stat sheets. There's an example of that right there. A dude who's good at everything, and they all correspond. You even did do a little cross.
Yeah, yeah. 1 year as a junior in 17, the infamous Austin Nationals, when it
Right.
rained so hard and they had to cancel it, and Lance Armstrong was going to bring everyone out to his house for the race, and then it was back on like 3 days later. And then Reno Cross Nats as a U23, and who knows, maybe, yeah, I keep thinking I, you know, want to do cross, but then I get to the October every year and I'm exhausted and need a break. So if it gets in the Winter Olympics, I'd make a push for it, but we'll see.
Cool. Yeah, I was out at Reno. I wonder if I interviewed you for Cyclocross Magazine.
Yeah,
Might have grabbed you and
yeah.
gone under the tent and held up my phone in front of your face. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, so I know I want to talk a little bit about your mountain biking because you're darn good at it. It's what you kind of focused on. You mentioned getting ready for Tokyo. What was that? I mean, tell me about Tokyo. Tokyo was so weird. You are like fired up. You want to make the team. You make the team. Your whole year is focused on July, and then the world shuts down. Like, what goes through what emotionally happens when that happens? Like, where are you at
Yeah.
mentally?
Yeah. I think it was a great moment for me. I was finishing school when COVID happened, and it allowed me to do that and to train extremely well and be a year older when I went to the Olympics. So I mean, it really played out in my advantage. But yeah, I mean, obviously a groundless moment for the whole world, but with something like that, where yeah, you circle a date when the Olympic race is, and everything in your life fits in around that. Um, it does change everything, and I think I really was set up and to be adaptable and really benefited from that. And then it was a weird experience at the games, the first time because there were no fans, there were no family there. We basically felt like we were 2.5 hours outside of Tokyo, so we didn't see any other athletes besides on the plane flight over. Couldn't watch any other sports, so it felt like a weird kind of mountain bike summer camp, small World Cup. So uh, yeah, it didn't have that whole you know alive component to it, but still, you felt the gravity of it being the Olympics, even if it was a weird way. Um, and then I'm glad I got to experience a true Olympic village atmosphere and everything at Paris. So yeah.
Yeah, I do want to jump to Paris because it was a completely different environment. Um, did you have a harder time getting psyched for the race at Tokyo than you did Paris, or do the Olympic ratings psych you up?
Yeah, I mean, you're plenty psyched, plenty psyched. I think, you know, if anything, you got to work on not getting too worked up. You got to, focus on the process. And it's hard to, didn't sleep well the night before both Olympics, because you're just so, yeah, it's
Yeah.
happening. But yeah.
Did you? I've been an Olympic geek since I was a kid, watching on a, I don't know, 13-inch black and white TV, Franz Klammer and Jean-Claude Keely. Um, did you play any of the Olympic games? Did you do opening or closing ceremonies? Did you, do the vibe of the Olympic Village? Did you trade pins? Did you do that whole thing, or did you just kind of like focus on the mountain bike race and that was it?
Yeah, I wish I could have gone to the opening ceremonies, but it's an all day, you're on your feet like all day.
Yeah,
Um, and it was
and it
raining.
was right before the race, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 days before. So, it didn't go both times. I think if I, make it to LA and I know it's going to be my last games, I'll make a effort to go. But yeah, I wish I would have been on that boat and, cornered all the basketball players because I love basketball so much and would have loved talking to them. But I mean, just walking around the village, like, yeah, going to the dining hall. I mean, it's quite an experience of seeing the world, through these incredible, like, bodies that are, all of these different, they're dialed in for all these different sports. So you have the 6'9" volleyball player and the, 4'8" Simone Biles that I met. And like, it's a unbelievable celebration of, yeah, sport, obviously.
Yeah, and geez, man, like you're so you have a lot of depth to you. Um, you have some songs which I want to talk about, maybe finish with, but you did a YouTube series last year. I don't know if you're going to do it again this year because it was very good. You're one on the Olympics, and you also are quite a poet, and you know it. Did you catch that? Um, your chapter on the Olympics is you called Tethered, and I loved. I want to encourage people to go watch that. I'll put a link in the show notes. Still Spoke is the YouTube channel. Is that right?
Yep.
Um, and your Olympic one was chapter 5, Tethered. At the end, you recite one of your um, vocal poems. Would you call it that, or
Yeah.
would you call that
Yes.
rap?
Spoken word. Yeah.
Spoken word. I loved it. Tell me your opinion on the Olympics. Like, summarize that poem.
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes beyond sport in the way where obviously it's a celebration of what's common between cultures, and sport is that. Sport is like the doorway in. I think in the poem I also talk about like it is just sport, and it doesn't need to be anything more. It doesn't have to be, like that's enough to bring us all together, and to show us, that the world is a little bit smaller than it feels sometimes, and we're all a little bit closer. Um, so and more similar. Yeah, it's just kind of a reflection on that, and that just being in that environment is one of the most special things I've been a part of, and it's something I think the people watching in front of 13-inch TV screens also feel a part of, in a way. So it's cool like that.
Yeah, I happen to agree. I feel like it's a great unifier, and
Totally.
sport and the variety of sports that are there uh, do a great job of bringing the world together, at least for a couple of weeks.
For sure.
Um, I want to ask you also about you've had some success on the World Cup circuit, both short track and cross country and marathon, as a matter of fact. Um, the short track, the difference in those disciplines, first of all, explain to people what the difference between short track and cross country is. Um, you have a weekend of racing. You don't have you don't just show up and do one race, but it's a whole weekend. Tell me about the how a World Cup weekend is kind of organized and how you prepare and explode off the line for each of your events.
Yeah. So it used to just be one race, just cross country, and then they added short track 6 years ago now, probably 5, 6 years ago, and um, it was initially sort of a crowd pleaser, 20-minute, appetizer, in a way of like getting some more TV time and smaller circuit where it's better for spectators. Um, Short track has been around in the States for a long time. I've done a lot of short tracks as a kid. Um, it's not in the Olympics, just cross country's in the Olympics, but hopefully short track will be one day. Um, but it initially was just for starting position in the cross country. So the top
Mm-hmm.
40 ranked riders race short track, and then the top 24, go in the first 3 rows. Um, and it's still super important for cross country, but short track's gained a little more prestige. So it's 20 minutes, do 7 to 10 laps, so it's super intense the whole time. Still, an aerobic effort, but you're full sprint every time you're really on the pedals. And it's not unlike the start of a cross country, which is an hour and a half race, but almost equally as intense. And yeah, if you're good at one of them, you're good at both of them typically. But some riders are better, at the longer drawn out effort or more explosive short track.
How do you transition your mind and body between a 20-minute effort, which is like running the 400 hurdles, and then hour and a half, which is more like running the steeplechase?
Yeah.
And people don't do both. People don't run the 400 hurdles and the steeplechase. They pick one. And
Yeah.
here's a weekend you're doing them both.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody does it. The top 40 do it, and you're definitely maybe a little bit. You race short track Friday night, and then cross country Saturday or Sunday, depending on if downhill is paired with cross country at the World Cup. I kind of like having the opener in short track to feel revved up for the cross country. Sometimes it actually helps me, but yeah, you just I've done stage races as well where you're racing for 8 days in a row, and that's something different. 2 days isn't so bad. Um, so yeah, I mean, it feels normal to me now because I'm used to it, and it feels completely manageable. So I think that's just a reflection of doing it a bunch in practice, and yeah.
In your mind, do you emphasize one over another on a given weekend?
Cross country is more, you want to win a cross country World Cup more than a short track. I think everybody would say that.
Hmm.
I know everybody would say that. That's still the more prestigious discipline, but um, winning a short track is also makes your weekend. So it kind of, you give it your all in each one. Yeah.
You have won a time or two, um, both of them. What's it feel like to cross that line with your hands in the air?
Yeah, well, I've won two cross country World Cups. The first of them was my first year elite in snowshoe, West Virginia, after the Olympics, and that was a completely unexpected, like storybook moment that I couldn't have anticipated in my first year in the elite field, and it was on home soil, and the first time U.S. male has won for 27 years or something. So, I mean, I was pretty shocked, and I was just insanely grateful for that moment that I got to experience, and my family was there, and it was kind of a culmination of, I think, a concerted effort by USA Cycling community and USA Cycling organization to get us there. And then yeah, same thing in Brazil. I mean, it's an excellent feeling.
I can only imagine for sure. You looked, I don't know, it might have been episode chapter 2 in your thing, shows you coming across the line, and it looked euphoric.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
That's awesome. What do you got this year? What's your year look like so far?
There's 10 World Cups, so I want to continue to try to squeeze out the best I can be at the World Cups. So we go mostly the same places, and yeah, so I could have done something different and mixed in some gravel and everything, but I'm really content with trying to get the best out of myself at the World Cups for now.
Yeah, I am a little curious about sticking a toe in gravel. You've done Cape Epic. You did it with Matt Beers, who has been doing the lifetime, gravel mountain bike thing, and quite successfully. He's one of the fast dudes there. How do you resist the temptation to stay here on home soil? I mean, Keegan has shown that you can make a ton of money racing gravel here in the States. How do you resist that temptation? You're obviously fast. You're obviously strong. Your buddy Matt Beers, who you did Cape Epic with, races a lot of gravel. What keeps you from doing that?
Yeah, well, I think it's clearly knowing what I want to give my all to, which is has been the Olympics pipeline, and is the World Cup circuit in cross country mountain biking, which is the discipline that I love the most. I think it's the most I'm biased, but I think it's the most interesting discipline. I really want to give my best to the discipline I'm in right now, which cross country mountain biking, and I think the World Cup scene in the Olympics is like, yeah, it's it's an international, it's best of the sport, and I love racing gravel, and I love all of my friends that are in gravel. There are not that many that stuck with cross country mountain biking, so I'll show up to some of those races in the future for sure. But right now, I just know what I want to give my all to, and it's the World Cups.
And through LA?
Most likely, yeah. I mean, I'm taking it, I'll take it year by year, but definitely have a vision towards that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, one of your friends is racing that gravel circuit. Lance Haydet, your college roommates. He's a friend of the show. Kind of an old friend of mine. You got any dirt on Lance from college days?
Yeah, he was kind of a miserable roommate. I had no fun with him.
I don't believe you for a second.
Yeah. No, he's kind of like living with your dad again. He's just a pretty. Yeah, no, Lance is like a great, like I said, joke, like he's like the dad, but he's just got his stuff together and is a pretty balanced kid. So, um, yeah, I'll be back in slow more this year, and I'll spend time with Lance for sure.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I enjoy him.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Well, I want to talk about Protect Our Winners, POW. It was an organization formed by a snowboarder who kind of noticed that there's less snow than there was last year and the year before and the year before that. Um, but it's certainly expanded beyond snow sports, i.e., I'm talking to you about this. First of all, how would you describe Protect Our Winners? What is it? What's the goal of Protect Our Winners?
Yeah. I think that Jeremy Jones, who started it, yeah, it started with like his personal experience of seeing the outdoors change, throughout the past 10 years, and the snowpack change, and being like, hey, I want to protect the sport that I love, and so that future generations can have the experiences he had. And I think it's sort of morphed and evolved past that, direct experience of sport, to realizing that the outdoor state, the outdoor industry, cumulatively, from biking to skiing to kayaking, even throw in hunters and anglers in there. Like it's a huge industry, that is bigger than extractive industries like oil and gas, and bigger than a lot of really powerful lobbyist economies, right? Like the NRA, for instance, massively influential lobbyists. The economic force of the gun economy is a lot less than the outdoor recreation industry. And there's a bunch of diverse people from different backgrounds in the outdoor industry, and they're not all the same voice and the same vote, but there's a common ground of all of them loving playing in the outdoors. What's more human and basic than that? And I think POW is trying to kind of mobilize that group to have a voice and have kind of common sense solutions for basic things: clean air, clean water, healthy planet, and really speak from that space. So yeah, I've learned a lot from it, and it's been really cool to be involved.
Well, how did you get involved? What's your tie there?
I did a film like 4 years ago, on this area in the Cuyama Valley, which is Central California, kind of central Southern California, and it was a film about, in a way, about forest fires, and the causes, of forest fires, and how they influence mountain biking. Every summer, whether you live in California or Colorado or just anywhere in the West. So that was a good introduction to the kind of intersection of climate, environmental, issues, and sports. And yeah, I got introduced to POW through my friend Dylan Osleger at the time, and yeah.
How would you describe your role with POW? What are you supposed to do
Yeah, well,
besides be fast?
POW has a science alliance, and it has a creative alliance, and then it has, alongside, its athlete alliance. Then it also has, and I'll speak about each of those, but it has a political action organization as well. So we went to DC this fall and lobbied, um, across the aisle, bipartisan, to Republican congressmen and women and senators and Democrats as well. And POW has introduced some bills. They've looked for those common solutions and try to just protect environmental policies that are beneficial to the communities that they're in. So it was a really cool experience to go to DC and realize that generally, if you can talk to people, everyone agrees that they clean water, clean air, and a healthy planet. Who's going to argue with that? It's just the path towards getting there, and trying to emphasize its importance in this really noisy political climate we're in. And yeah, I mean, to speak about the science and the experiences that we've had as athletes, like, or I'll say that, as athletes, we're not there to be the scientists. We leave that to the people who know what they're doing. But we're there to talk about our experience. And, I can speak about how I've seen tons of communities, small communities, transition from extractive industries to outdoor rec economy. So like Downeyville, an old mining town that's now Mountain Bike Capital. There's so many cases like that throughout the country. Snowshoe, West Virginia, where that World Cup was, hugely important to West Virginia's economy, the resort there. And if they don't have any snow, that impacts them. So speaking about, that's where I can come across and just talk about my experience in those communities. And yeah.
I love your analogy with the NRA, because perception is that the NRA is all powerful being, right? And huge lobby success. And yet, when you state that, like, the outdoor state collectively, the kayakers, the hikers, the bikers, the skiers, the snowboarders, the fisher, anglers, the hunters, it's 170, that's more than half the country, 175 million people. And can you even add up the dollar value of that group of people? What's the GDP of the outdoor state? Do you feel like you were listened to? Do you feel like you were heard when you were in Washington?
Yeah, absolutely. I really didn't want it to feel like a field trip, it was a bunch of
Right.
Olympians and we went out there, and I didn't want it to just be, oh, cool. Yeah. Olympics. And here we are, we take pictures. And no, like, we were able to actually have some discussions, and POW was built really real relationships, with members, Congress and Senate, and staff members throughout years. And they're doing, a lot of what happens, what the work is over there is relationships and communication, and trying to just get people to talk about what you want them to look at and talk about. So Powell introducing bills and talking about specific provisions that they want to continue to support. Yeah, it felt like we had a voice there. And I think that it's a lot of politicians want to meet Olympians, so
Sure.
especially if they're your constituents, you talk to um, the representatives of where you live. But no, it just felt really human, and yeah, kind of unique, kind of cool. I was encouraged about just how dialogue can go a long way, and that the outdoor state has a place in it. And we're really just representatives. Like I said, I think what's important is just people realizing that, yeah, we can have a collective voice in the outdoor industry for these things, even if we disagree on certain points. But what we do agree on is that we love the places we get to play in, and we want to see them continue to thrive. And let's start there. Let's go back to that when things get contentious. Let's go back to that.
We just want to have a place to play.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, and in the experience of, like, we want to. POW takes a lot of politicians out on hikes. Those guys and gals are in the stuffy Washington rooms all the time. Like, let's get them some fresh air, see what that can do for people's minds and bodies and spirit.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Obviously we've got a new administration in office after January 20th, and there's certainly a lot going on with what's happening in Washington. And I wonder, there's 175 million of us who like to play outside. What can we do as individuals to have an effect? I'm not an Olympian. I'm not going to get the ear of my representatives as easily as you did. and I don't want to feel helpless.
Hmm.
But I sit here in my house in suburban Des Moines, and what do I do? What's Powell's message to me to have an impact, whether it's on people who do make the laws and the rules, and impact on Earth. Like, I have a footprint.
Yeah,
I'm using carbon. I have lights on right now. I'm using a
totally.
computer.
Yeah,
What's Powell's message to people like me?
yeah. So it's an important point to say that just because you have a political, or sorry, a carbon footprint, and if you're someone like me who travels all over the country or all over the world to race my carbon fiber bike, I have quite a large carbon footprint.
You 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 are storing carbon in your bike.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's a bit of a carbon bank right there.
Hmm. But that doesn't preclude you from speaking about um, really the important change that has to happen, which is systemic uh, change, and at the government level, at the business level, and we're all in the system where there's a lot of waste um, and use and everything, and we can try to make lifestyle choices the best we can, of course. But I think that you know the way to lowering emissions and to protecting public places is through collective action. So POW really encourages that approach. And people love to discredit anyone who says they do that by saying how much they fly and everything. And it's important to have those discussions. Like, let's keep reminding ourselves what we can do better as individuals. But like, both are possible, and we have to be really practical and discerning about what is actually important. And I think what's actually important is the collective action. And then I think a lot about framing, and it's so interesting when we went into meetings with the Republican politicians. Like, you have to be creative about what words you say, and it's just words. It's just words. Like, if you talk about climate and you use these buzzwords, people want to shut it down, and they just freeze up. And I can understand that to a degree, but I think like that we also need to be discerning there and figure out how we can talk to people who have different views politically about what is literally common ground, the earth we're on, and like, let's get underneath our concepts of what's, how to posture it all and alternative motives, and just talk about, what are those common ground, important things. So, I mean, yeah, I don't have any, magic advice beyond that. I've realized though that, and I can do a better job of this, just like all of us, but you can do a lot from where you are. You can call your representatives. You can, show up locally, be informed locally. And that, what I think about mostly is how to communicate with people, how to not, ostracize someone who doesn't want to go talk about anything climate, doesn't want to talk about anything environmental. Like, there's a way in. You can talk to them like, hey, you're a farmer, right? Like, you love being outside, you love hiking, and you start a conversation there and just be open to learning and having that dialogue. So that's what I'm so drawn to with POW's approach, and I hope that can continue. And in the next 4 years and beyond, that we can get back to looking at what we all share. It's a little idealistic, but it shouldn't be, right?
It shouldn't be. I like how you say it's, it's climate change and reversing blah 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 carbon footprint. But honestly, it's like clean water, clean air. Like,
Yeah.
if we can achieve those two things, like, the climate will probably take care of itself. I remember in 1989. I'm going to date myself. I worked at YMCA the Rockies up in near Winter Park, Colorado. And part of my job was to go pick up people from the airport and deliver them to the airport. We had a lot of international staff coming and going. And man, like, we would come over, forget the name of that hill. I've driven it so many times, but come over the hill where Denver is sprawled out before you. You couldn't see Denver. It was that brown. And we would literally like take a breath and pretend to hold it the entire time that we were in Denver until we got back out into the mountains. It was that brown. And today it is not that brown. I'm not saying it's smog free, but you can see Denver when you come over the hill. It's a huge difference. And I'm also old enough to know of the freaking Cuyahoga River burning because there was just so much toxic waste poured into it, like freely.
Yeah.
And we lived in Cleveland for a while, and people kayaked all the way down the Cuyahoga River
Yeah.
into Lake Erie. So
Yeah, and there's a reason why. There's a reason why, and this is what I say about let's be practical and discerning of what has happened, even if you're really supportive of this administration. Yeah, the EPA is in an onslaught right now, and completely, and like, yeah, I don't want to sugarcoat how serious this moment is by any means, and I just really hope people see the truth of what's essential, and what is essential is clean air and clean water, and so it's a
yeah,
tough moment. Obviously, we're living in.
yeah,
We all know that there's a lot of change happening.
yeah, for sure. Well, I want to direct people to POW's website, protectourwinters.org. And if you dig around in there, obviously you'll see a sweet picture of Christopher Blevins and all the other athlete ambassadors. But one of the things that's in there that I think we can all find even one thing to do is the Climate Advocates Guidebook.
Yeah,
And it's everything from, use a glass instead of a plastic water bottle, uh, to tell your story, to call your senator, et cetera, et cetera. All kinds of great things in that Climate Advocates Guidebook.
yeah, great call out. Great call out. That is a great resource.
Speaking of call out, can we change the subject?
Yeah,
It's actually not so much changing because I feel like you kind of talk and sing about this, but you're a freaking good musician and storyteller and poet. And in fact, you teach. I wrote down vocal poetry, but I don't think that's right. You teach poetry at a local juvenile facility. Tell me about that.
yeah. Well, this was some years ago now. I'm moving back down to San Luis Obispo, so maybe I'll see if I can start volunteering again. But no, it was a really cool experience. Through my sociology teacher, yeah, just went into a juvenile hall, and most of the time it was for a creative writing program. Most of the time we just played cards with the kids, but um, I got a lot out of it. You're in your little college bubble in San Luis Obispo, and to be able to see kids who you hope one day can end up in college, and end up out of there, not back in. You don't when you leave and kids leaving the next week, you really don't want to see them again. Sometimes you would; they'd be back in juvie. Um, so I learned a lot from it, and yeah, if I had more time, and I want to make time, but to be able to do experiences like that, and yeah, writing and just expressing yourself, whether it's journaling or having someone to be in dialogue with, I think it's really beneficial for those kids.
Tell me about the transition from your poetry to putting it to music. Because I found your stuff on Spotify and it's great. Like I'm a 60-year-old white dude, and I loved your music. Is it hard? That's a whole nother dimension.
Yeah, I haven't made much music in the past few years. My most of the music on Spotify is from my freshman year of college when I was 18 years old.
That's
So
awesome.
it's almost been 8-9 years now. I may have a record album coming out at some point this year, but I've been writing a lot. And yeah, I mean, it's just another way to express myself, and it's been really fun to have that outlet. And yeah, a good challenge and good balance to the athletic side of things.
Oh, very cool. I'm going to put you on the spot, and I paused there intentionally so I can cut this. But have you got anything for us?
I don't, but I can probably find the Olympic poem. I'll read
Oh, I'd love that.
that we mentioned. All right, I'll read. Yeah, this was for the video project I did. It's a bit.
Episode 5, Chapter 5.
I think it'd be chapter 3 in there.
Oh, dig it. Okay.
Yeah. All right. It's more than the man in the arena, more than the funneling of a self to the start line the sleepless night before. It's more than the bike, the ball, the lane, the rings, the legs moving, the arms stretching, the pride of the people behind you. It's more than the quiet huddled deep in your chest, surrounded by a wild wrestle with the breath, the waves of nerves, and the recollection that this is it. This is it. It's more than the eruptions of joy, more than the erosion of dreams in the moment of release. It's more than the front line of family with matching t-shirts, more than the build-up with its brief spurts of inconvenient emotions, and all of the years of each person's deep search to capture a brief moment of genius, capture something golden. It's all far beyond just sport, but do we really need it to be anything more? Or is it just enough as it is, whatever sport has at its center? Because for a couple of weeks, in some small but significant way, the whole world is tethered. So yeah.
I love that. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Dude, I totally appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man going all over the world and trying to be fast, succeeding on many occasions, which I love. And we're going to wish you all the best on your mountain bike and in your advocacy with POW. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, good to chat with you, Dave.
Oh yeah, that was such a treat to get to spend some time with Christopher Blevins. I really appreciate him making time to come on. He's such a nice guy, and he's passionate and dedicated, and let's not forget creative and talented as well. I love diving deeper than the bike with people. Everybody has so much more depth, and this guy goes deep. I encourage you to dig around on Spotify and find his music. I just looked for Christopher Blevins and they popped up, all of his songs. He's got 8 songs on there, a whole album, and then a few other songs. I've been enjoying it for a while, and if you stick around a little longer on today's podcast, don't hang up yet. I'll give you a sample from his 2018 album, Mile Markers. You've also got to tune in to his YouTube series from last season, Chapters. And the first video for his 2025 season has just dropped, and it's called Reflections. It's all great stuff. It's almost like he's truly enjoying life, and he's also just super fast. Of course, links to all this great stuff is in the show notes. And while you're at it, dive into Protect Our Winters. And if you want to get involved, I'd suggest checking out the Climate Advocates Guidebook. Just go to protectourwinters.org and click on the Resources tab, and you'll find it there. You can also join Team POW and make your voice in the outdoor state heard, and it's all for free. You're obviously welcome to support the organization with a tax-deductible donation, and I feel like together we can all make a big difference and maybe, hopefully, leave this place a little better than we found it. And on that note, thanks again for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. And if you did, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Of course, I would love it if you would rate and review wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to support the show financially, feel free to drop some coins in the cup at buymeacoffee.com. Just look for Bike Talk with Dave. I really appreciate that kind of support. It really helps with the ongoing expenses, and it makes it possible to record and host this show. And one more thing, be sure to give this show a follow on Instagram, Facebook, and even YouTube. And you can find and stream every episode at biketalk.bike right on your computer. Now I hope you have a great week, and remember that nothing compares to the simple pleasure of riding a bicycle. And now I'm going to leave you with Christopher's song, Battlefield, off his 2018 album, mile markers.
We put up umbrellas assuming rain won't stop from coming through. We toss our hearts out like boomerangs hoping they circle back with something new. We sweep our secrets, set them in suitcases and run with the truth. We dump our dreams out like loose change that was never enough to use. See, there is a dreamer getting dressed up in depression for his day job. There's a spiteful leader preaching hatred, making change too heavy to shake off. And there are people who have layered their hearts black with paint that's way too permanent to scrape off. And they told us that this world will be your battlefield. They told us to stay away and fight on until this war is stopped. And that your hope lay awake with the lights on and the door unlocked, and wait for you to come home, and wait for you to tell it that it can go to sleep, and that this war was only a dream, and that life is indeed sweet serendipity mixed with poetry, that this world is exactly like you hoped it'd be. But they told us the white flag will not wave here. They told us that we need to fight back, we won't stay here. They told us to put armor around our hearts, to unload our minds, to speak bullets. They keep pulling us apart and they show us the pictures of the rubble and all the divisions that exist and all our bridges that have crumbled. And they teach us, do not walk down the street with your smile and give it to others. Be indifferent to their struggles, cause this ignorance gives you comfort. But I tell them that this isn't how love works. I see the beauty in our differences as the definition of wonder, and I will go and paint their hearts a different color. I said that I will go and paint their hearts a different color. This tornado in my throat will only mean I'll whisper thunder. I can tell that there's a storm coming, so I'm on the forefront of this war, running like Forrest Gump. When white flags are torn up and we're scared of what's in store, we just need to show them more love, more trust, more beauty in the dust. We just need more of it, because I will not see this world as my battlefield. We wear our tattered hearts like battle scars from everything that we go through. But I shoot my heart out like a cannonball. I know it lands right where it's supposed to. And I will be standing taller than the ceilings that we haven't broken through. I will never put a barricade around everything that I hold true, cause there is a dreamer getting dressed up in a dance waiting to happen. The streets are filled across the nation with voices and faces reaching for magic. And there are kids ready to paint their hearts the most amazing color that you can imagine. Do not tell them that this world is their battlefield. Tell them that this world is their miracle or their symphony, that it's a marigold growing in the middle of winter. Please tell them that they can make a difference. See, yes, we need to fight for what we believe in, but teach them to be scavengers first, to gather love from every corner, every mistake and every pass by from every stranger. Do not let them carry their hope like it is in danger. Teach them to pick the beauty out from the cracks in our promises, to listen to the wind and smile at the world as they watch it spin. See, I will give up this fight to tie my trust to the stars, and I will hand over my white flag if you use it to wipe the dust off your heart. Then maybe then it will shine a little stronger. So somebody tell them to take their armor off and put their weapons down. Somebody tell my tired hope to turn the lights off and rest now, cause this world's not my battlefield any longer. This world's not my battlefield any longer. I don't recognize it as a battlefield any longer, cause this world has always been something stronger.